Rawlings,
Mike
Amy-
Gardner.
Amy Percy.
Bob and Hannah.
As everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. We're going to see Bob over there. I didn't see him. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of the agenda, public comment, approval of minutes, warrants, correspondence, excess weight permits, Conservation Commission letters of interest, personnel policy addendum, Pownal Village Center property ownership discussion, social service ballot article appropriation requirement policy continued, budget discussion, executive for contractual. We're gonna remove 16 and we're gonna add in a postcard. So we're gonna just change 16 to say, we're gonna talk about a postcard for
Town report.
town report. Public comment, executive personnel, and adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Change.
The motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Any public comment here?
I think that's why Sid is here. Because I would like to make.
Okay, nothing on Zoom, Hannah?
No, nothing to.
Sid, would you like to come up or are you good back there?
I'm good here if you are.
Would you just announce?
I will.
Perfect, thank you.
My name is Sid Smithers. My wife and I live at 692 Tubbs Road in North Pownal. And I'm here tonight to discuss with the board my hopes for some kind of remedial action to deal with drainage on Tubbs Road. The problem is exacerbated by the fact that there's a steep hill just to the west of the road. The road intervenes between the hill and our property, and they're all descending, so ours is at the bottom. And as the water comes down the hill, it gets caught at the road because it's flattened, it's graded. If it's well graded and it's pointed into the toe of the mountain, toe of the hill, the culverts will catch it if it's a nominal amount. But if it's a large amount, such as happened the other day, it just overflows the culverts and comes down on our property. It is an expensive piece of work to clean it all up. This has happened several times before. The first time we dug a drainage ditch parallel to Tubbs Road and put some stone in it and put it under a culvert under our driveway and then down to a farm pond. That worked pretty well for a couple of years. Then there was a big blowout. And Yale McClenathan came back and dug, the stone had all been blown out into the waterway. Came back and dug the trench deeper and put a pipe in the bottom of it, put some stone back. And that worked well for a couple of years. And then we had still a bigger storm. And again, the rock, if it doesn't end up out in the field, out in the pasture, it ends up on our lawn. And this time it went through Lundy's garden. And I have a very unhappy wife. So I'm not here to ask you to clean it up because I don't think you do that. And I don't think your insurance covers it. I am here to ask you to think about a longer-term solution, which would involve hiring an engineer to study the situation there and maybe come up with some design changes. I know there's ledge, for example, at one part of Tubbs Road, which makes it tough to grade it. But people have gotten around ledge before. We did. We had to dig ledge to build our house. And I would like the town to spend some money on engineering to see if you can come up with a solution that can be effectuated to make that drainage better. When we lived at 1744 Northwest Hill Road at the other end of town, our driveway ran over creek, a brook, to our house. And it was obvious in a big storm that the culverts weren't sufficiently sized to handle the brook. I hired the engineer because the driveway was on my driveway, on my property, my culverts, my problem. Now it's kind of a joint problem. The water comes down the mountain, hits your road, comes off onto our property. I'd like the town to think about spending some money on an engineering study. Road boss responded immediately, by the way. I sent him a text with a film of the water rushing down.
He called me within, it was a pretty short period of time.
Well, he had to
called
move
me.
up there within a very short period.
Yeah,
He
he
came back and I spent 3 days.
yeah, I knew about it fairly quickly, actually.
Well, I wasn't gonna bother you, Mr.
No, that's fine, that's fine. You know, Joel let me know and I've since, you know, it was days after, but I did take a ride up.
And I do
Charlie's
think
and-
he plans to upsize the culverts.
Yeah, he said he's gonna go from 18 to 24. And that will pick up some more water, but it isn't gonna solve the problem.
Well, I can certainly, so the way the board works basically right now is, we split up duties amongst board members for different parts of the town. The road crew and, wastewater and stuff are happen to be on my plate. So that's why Joel called me, because I'm the board member. You know, I don't make any decisions, but he informs me rather than going, you know, to anybody else unless I'm unavailable. So, I certainly can reach out to Joel and talk to him about maybe having our engineer. We work with a certain, I think his name's Tyler, right? Is that his name? We certainly I can talk to Joel about having Tyler come down and look at it and.
That'd be great.
And give us, but I do know, we talked about it on the phone. He's like, the 18-inch culverts are not big enough. We need 24s in there. I do know that will be on the,
Jared just said they're very expensive.
Well,
Do the engineering.
theirs are pretty expensive.
yeah, so, you know, I mean, Joel, I don't think for the most part, when Joel comes to the board and says, and he'll bring it to the board, you know, I'm not gonna bring it in, he's gonna bring it in. If he comes into the board and tells us that he needs 24-inch culverts down there, we're gonna put 24-inch culverts.
And that's a town-owned road. I was talking about private, when we're talking about replacing
Yeah.
private roads,
Yeah.
it's different.
Well, when we were at 1744, I paid for the engineer.
Yeah,
The old culvert was a boiler case,
right.
and it took 2 48-inch culverts to do back in there.
So I know that it is definitely on the radar, for sure. And I can certainly mention to Joel about, you know, see what he thinks of having Tyler come down and,
He said he'll give him a call,
there you go.
watching, so.
Yep, Joel
Thank you for
watches.
your time. I appreciate your attention, and I look forward to hearing what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I do know, like I said, I know that Joel told me that that's coming up for 24-inch culvert replacement this spring, so.
Okay.
I do know that for sure.
Any questions for me?
No, thank you, Sid, for being understanding and then, you know, oh, Bob, sorry, I didn't even realize you were in here, Bob. Thank you for being, you know, understanding on the situation, and that was like the perfect storm because Joel said the one culvert plugged with sticks and debris and everything else, and it was just it was a
It
mess.
was a river.
Yeah, yeah.
If any of you want to see a video of it, I can send it to Tara, and she can share with you.
Yeah, I'll
if you
forward
care.
it to him. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Bob, did you have something?
No, I just recognized Sid's voice and I wanted to say hello.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Bob, how are you?
Good, how are you, Sid?
We meet at the transfer station and on Zoom.
That's pretty much it.
Well, thanks for coming in,
Thank you
Sid.
for your time.
Thank you for being understanding on the whole situation.
I've been on that side of the table too.
I understand, it's the ones that don't understand. It's difficult sometimes, it's like, man, do you think we did it on purpose?
Thank you for your time.
Have a good night, Sid.
Thanks, Ed.
Happy New Year.
One last thing, 55th wedding anniversary today.
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
Any more public comment, Hannah? Okay. Approval of minutes of December 14th, 2023 select board meeting.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion, questions, corrections? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bob abstain.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Warrants, accounts payable, December 21st, $46,380.54.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bob, I.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Accounts payable, December 29th, $31,329.84.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bob, I.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Payroll, December 21st, $11,779.14.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bob, I.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Payroll, December 29th, $11,508.05.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bob, I.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Any correspondence?
Not today.
No correspondence. Excess weight permits. Oh, perfect. Conservation Commission letters of interest, and, I'm sure everyone saw the email, from Tara, that we didn't get any more applicants or people who are interested in, the Conservation Commission.
So we have the 5 that I had from before, but I never shared them, so if you'd like, I could read them now.
We can share them. I have an idea on that. So, but sure, we can share the names. Sure.
Do you want me to share the names or read the actual letters?
I would think just sharing the names would be enough, but
Yeah, and then,
Because we've
yeah,
all seen the letters.
we've all seen the letters. Has everyone seen the letters?
Yep. So there's Jeannie Alexander, Catherine Cooper, William Cottrell, which is Bill, he works for us, Nathan Fowle, and Megan Randall, sorry.
My idea, and the board can, you guys can do what, the board decision, obviously, but I would like to interview, each person. And that's just my idea, and see what why they're interested and where they wanna go with it. Even though we have the letter that states what's going on, I think I'd like to pull them in for a personal interview.
I don't think that would hurt.
Well, we do it for, the planning commission, right? And,
Yeah.
and,
DRB.
DRB and all the other stuff, it's just, I don't think we should do anything any different for this than, and it's just, like I said, my opinion, so totally up to the board.
Stay with our regular protocol.
I have no problem with that. Just do it all in one night. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have to really sit here and grill them for
No.
2 hours, each one, but.
it sounds to me like it's like a 5 minute, 5 minutes a person,
Yeah, 5 or
something
10
like
minutes, and then, if you schedule one every 15 minutes, I would think we'd be golden. And be fairly quick and do it and just do that on a particular night. And that's the only thing.
Just a suggestion. I mean, just to think about it, if it's 5 and it's 15-minute intervals, it's an hour and 15. I don't think we're going to need more than 10 minutes. If we did that, then we've got 5 of them in just under an hour. And I can't imagine it's going to take an hour. If one goes a little long, one might go a little short.
That's true. That's true.
Do you want me to do that, like the next regular board meeting, or should it be a special?
It's special.
I think we should do it at a special meeting because we already have budgets that we're trying to work through, budget sessions and.
Yeah, we'll probably do a special next week for budget. Thursday. Okay, I'll see what I can schedule.
And I mean, even if it's a different night than Thursday,
Okay.
Or could we do it before our budget? Like,
Well, it could be.
our budget usually starts at 6, so have them from 6
have them come at 5?
Or have them come at 5. I don't know what time Bob can get here.
Okay, I'll see what time I'll see what I can work out.
What's your feelings on that, Bob? If we did it next Thursday night, we do a special for budget at 6 o'clock, and if we did the interviews
From 5 to 6.
from 5 to 6.
I should be able to attend. I just can't commit, and I'm sorry for that, but I got customers in other time zones.
No, I understand. And I know the 5 o'clock's hard for you. It's right, rather than try.
And I trust, I trust that we're going to ask the right questions. So even if I'm not there, I think it's fine.
Well, we did this the last meeting, you had some things on the Conservation Commission that we brought up. I brought those up, the way you felt about certain things. So if you have a couple of questions that you want to ask each member of the commission, and then you could watch that meeting, we would certainly have it public. If you had 2 or 3 questions that you wanted, I wouldn't have a problem asking those questions, Bob.
I appreciate that. And so I'll submit some questions before the meeting. And then if I make it, that's great. I can ask them myself. And if not, I would appreciate if you did.
And so let's see if we can get them in here next Thursday at 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
That was much less reading than I was expecting.
Personnel policy addendum.
Okay, so I think I sent that to you all.
I saw
In
it.
the folder. It's just as we discussed the last regular meeting, changing the personnel policy to state that all part-time employees will receive 4 hours for a holiday and all full-time will receive 8 hours. It does, point out that seasonal employees will be covered for the days that fall during their season that they're working, but per diem employees are not eligible. So it'll just replace section 20, but I'll do it as an addendum so I can just have all staff sign off on it. And then next year when we redo the personnel policy, sign offs it'll just be included in it. It won't be an addendum anymore.
Perfect.
What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to accept the amendment to the personnel policy as we discussed.
Do I have a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
Any more discussion on that? Any questions, concerns? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think we came up with a good solution, so, all those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bob, aye.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Pownal Village Center property ownership discussion.
So I have for about a year and a half been trying to research out the ownership and the agreement between the town and the community church. I have not had a lot of luck. Carl Strohmeyer has helped tremendously. He's done a ton of research. We are under the understanding that we own the church and that it is at the church group's pleasure to use it as they see fit. However, they don't really agree with us on that. So it's been tricky trying to figure out an agreement that we actually agree on. And I just am looking for the board's blessing to ask the lawyer to title research the property ownership of the church and then help us develop an agreement that works for everyone. Because it's not working with me doing it. I don't know all of the legal, the details of it. And going forward, it's 20 years from now and the board all changes and maybe I'm not here. And there's always questions on the agreement with the church. We currently insure it and the parcel is in the town's name. So I'm very confused of how that agreement works. So I think it's definitely time for the lawyer to take a look at it.
Yeah, same as the 50-50 deal.
Well, in other towns, I guess they established something where the church became like a nonprofit and like the town established ownership of the building, but then they had a formalized agreement like we have with PHS. So I think that's necessary.
Create another can of worms.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not sorry. It's,
No, you're cleaning up an
So-
old,
Right, yeah, it's,
this is,
Unfortunately, there's maybe 5 or 6 people that go to the church. They cannot maintain it. The church is falling down. And if we have ownership, we can apply for grants to maybe get it fixed.
and I think they're discouraged because Rebecca had helped them with some grants, which she did. However, I'm not comfortable administrating grants that I'm not, in charge of how the money is spent.
Right.
So basically, if we get a grant, I would then be giving the money to them, but they're not held to the requirements of the grant like we are.
right.
So it makes it very complicated and,
Well, that was one of the reasons why we didn't get the grant, correct? Because it wasn't in our ownership
Angie and I met with them.
years ago.
Yeah, I was pretty new on the board at the time. I think it's my first year. So I just think it's time. It's another one of those things that needs to be cleaned up.
Yep.
That's been in limbo for however many years. At least as far back as I can remember. And that's my opinion, is to absolutely get a lawyer, clean it up, figure out who owns, does whatever, and
we're gonna be working with BCRC to develop the entire village center, so it's a good time to have that agreement formalized.
Absolutely.
I think that one thing I want to make sure from my viewpoint, and at least my opinion here, is under no way, shape or form are we as a board, or I would never vote for it as a board member. We're not trying to, remove the members of the church or do anything at all about that. We're trying to, I think it's exact opposite. As far as I'm concerned, I want to try to help the church get some money, find some money somewhere to bring the church up, and try to restore the church. That's my personal, that's why Angie and I met with them 4 years ago or whatever it was. That was our goal then. We've got to, I don't know about any of the other board members, but Angie and I got some history in the church. I went to Sunday school in the.
And they've been doing a lot of collaboration with Parks and Rec on the skate park and those things too.
Right.
We definitely are looking to continue what's been happening, just
Exactly.
formalize it a little bit more.
But I want to make sure that I get that out from my own viewpoint, that's,
Are we in I think I'm in agreement with everything that was said so far, but are we in agreement? Or I think from my standpoint, I think we want to be clear about and I think we're all saying this, we want to be clear about the ownership. And I would really push against and vote against any sort of public-private partnership. It's either public or it's private. We're divesting ourselves of that property, or we're taking that or we're finding out what our options are to take the property. I don't want it to be a half of one and half of another, because that's what leads to the confusion. One entity needs to be in control of it. And if it's not the town, then it needs to be completely taken over by a private entity. And that doesn't seem feasible. So it's probably the town. We probably want to express that to the lawyer. Not just ask them one is have them itemize what our options are. Here's the current situation. What are our options? And then if we have a desire, and I think the desire at this point would be either clearly public or clearly private.
I agree with that, Bob.
Yeah.
Because we know that we know that the mix doesn't work.
It's always hard to
We've been down that road before. It might work now, but the next church group in there, or the next board, the select board, or who knows, whatever, it just doesn't work. So, but I just wanted to make it clear that we're, under no way, shape or form trying to remove the church members or whatever.
It's such a beautiful historic property.
Exactly.
I think Pownal has a vested interest in making sure that it is maintained, whether it's public or private.
Right.
Exactly.
But we definitely need a clear
path.
definition and
I mean, you'll get a different story from everyone you ask about it.
Exactly.
have
Same.
over all these years.
Yeah, I thought I could figure it out, I was just not.
That's fine.
It's not.
I think you're right. I think it's time for the lawyer to,
Yeah.
do we need a motion on that?
I don't think so. I think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, Tara, I think you just communicate with Bob and find out what our options are.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
I'm good with that. Okay, social service ballot article appropriation requirement policy, continued discussion. We talked about this at the last meeting. It's all of the ballot articles that, we vote on in March. And if I remember correctly, last year's total was just under $300,000.
Yeah.
It was.
291,000 and
That's
change,
right,
if I
yeah.
remember correctly. Were you in that meeting, Bob, or is that? when we
I
talked?
don't remember I'm looking at it on the agenda, and it's not just ballot articles, it's specific, right? Social
Yes.
service, ballot article
it's-
appropriation requirement policy, continued discussion.
Right, so for the nonprofits, we said they needed to come up with the,
990.
990 form and some different things that we had discussed at the last board meeting.
Yep. So it was the 9 reading, though I can't get it to pull up. I'm getting off.
Well, the 990 came up before the 14th meeting.
Letter, is that what you're
I
talking
wasn't in that one.
Right, and this was just an expanded discussion, and then we, some organizations, are not required to
Files.
file.
So if they're not required to file, I understand that, but I think that they should be required, or I think it's law that they have to show their financials for the last 3 years, isn't that correct?
I believe so, the way it's written.
Organization.
All I know is that some of the previous fair committee organizers brought this to my attention, that because it was under a certain amount of money, they didn't have to file. So that's why not everyone has information that was given to me. I'm not from an accountant, but that was, information that was relayed to me. So it's, we gotta kind of decide, work around that.
So if they don't have it, I put in the policy that they should be submitting an equivalent that, shows their, revenue and income, their expenses, their assets and liabilities for the last fiscal year.
Yeah, and I think that's by law required for 3 years for them to do that, but we're only asking for 1 year, and I think that's fair. If you're asking the town for money, I think people should be aware of what is going
How it
on.
gets spent, yep.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
I have heard some concern about all of the agencies having to collect the signatures. Some people are concerned that there's gonna be a stack of the signature sheets at Winchester's, or that people will have to petition a lot, but they can be collected the entire previous year.
Right.
So.
Doesn't have to be the last couple, 3 weeks.
December, you know what I mean? It can be the whole year leading up to that, so.
And is it per individual town that they're asking, or is it Bennington County?
No, they have to do each
For
town.
individual.
I was just curious, 'cause
Yeah.
like if they ask the money from Bennington,
Yes,
Shaftesbury,
they do.
Pownal,
Yeah.
okay.
Most of them do, yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons for it from my viewpoint. I think it's a little more of a vested interest in trying to acquire money from the town, from the town taxpayers. And unfortunately, I'm not, our own organizations that are in our town, to me, are a little bit different than outside organizations from, different areas. But in order to be fair and equitable across the ballot, you have to ask all of them to come up with all of these.
But you also see that with the information that you're collecting. If the Pownal taxpayer is paying for benefits that are going to other towns versus those that are coming, into Pownal, you'll see it with the financials.
Right.
And that's really, that's part of the goal. How is the money being spent and where is it being spent?
Right.
Who benefits?
Right.
So I typed this all out, but I don't really want you guys to approve it just yet, because I want to wait until I hear back from VLCT in regards to whether we can put them on our website, I just wanna double check. I know they're public info, but I don't know if we can redistribute in that way.
Okay,
I wanna be able to put like a link on our website with them and have copies at town meeting, but I'm just waiting for the word from VLCT whether we can do that or not.
okay, perfect.
So if you like the policy the way it is, I'll leave it and just wait to hear back from them.
I was very happy with it. I think we had a great discussion about it and, you know, we're not trying to stop anybody from obtaining money from the town. It's just, doing our due diligence for our taxpayers to know where their money's being spent every time. You know, we as a board, you know, we tell them where their money's spent. It's right there, open, you know, open book. And I don't think it's fair, especially now that it's, and I shouldn't say this way really, because it really shouldn't matter, but it is, becoming a larger portion of money up there, just under 300,000. It's a lot of money. I think it was 8% of our tax rate, right? Is that what it was?
I was just gonna look
I was
at it.
gonna say, I thought it was at least.
The ballot articles, when you section it off for, not school, the things that are in controlled. We
Right,
don't control much. The pie is pretty big.
right.
And how much we spend in our general fund, road fund, and wastewater doesn't account for much of the taxes. But within that sliver, within that piece of pie, the ballot articles are, I think they're less than a third still, but it's pushing up to a third of what we have control over. It's about 30%.
Is it up that high?
I thought it was 8%, but it does, whatever. It's still $300,000. When I signed those things, it was 200, I know it was 291,000 because
I think I was just
Yeah.
talking about the general fund. I'm sorry, the general fund.
Well,
Not the
yeah.
other funds. It's
So the general fund was
getting
11%.
almost 30% of the general fund.
Right.
Yeah,
It's 6% of the entire taxes.
That's what I thought.
But to put it in perspective, the school tax was 64%.
yeah.
The general fund was 11%, road was 17, and ballot articles are 6.
So what I'm saying is the 11%, the ballot articles make up, because we only control that 11%.
Right.
Of that 11%, ballot articles are almost 1/3. They're about they're somewhere between 25 and 30% now, and they were about 20% when I first started on the board. So that's growing at an unsustainable rate in my view.
It's a true statement versus when you take out the school tax.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I just,
of the 11%.
I just think we're doing our due diligence to our taxpayers and I just think it's the right thing to do.
And some of them are going to go up this year.
They ask for a significant increase.
Yep, exactly.
Any more on that?
No?
Budget discussion.
She's giggling. Uh-oh. She's giggling.
So, you had a chance to look over the budgets, hopefully? What's everyone think?
So we're not gonna make a decision tonight. We're gonna have a budget session where we sit and go over it? Or
Yeah,
did you wanna,
no, I think we need to sit
we
down.
need to sit down and go over it, cause I have a lot of questions.
Probably an executive.
Okay. I wasn't floored.
I'm not floored either.
I wasn't floored with it. I'll be honest. I don't think it's
It's not a huge increase.
not a huge increase the way it's written, and we're not gonna even, if someone asks what the increase is, we're not even gonna divulge that right now, because that is, it's just very preliminary.
It's a template.
It's the beginning of budget season, so whatever that increase is totally not even, probably not even, really accurate. So,
Was there anything that jumped out that you thought, well, that was way too low or way too high?
The animal control wages are budgeted for only 11,000, and right now we're at 11,328, so I was worried about that. And we haven't discussed the health insurance yet.
Yeah, that's a big,
That's a huge
good one to
increase.
discuss in executive, I
Yes,
think.
an executive.
Animal control hours have been down the last few weeks. He has had no hours. I think there was a pretty big increase during sometimes where, like, the sheep situation, some other situations that we're hoping to avoid in the future, so that, I think I need to look at my budget though, cause I didn't think we spent that much.
Well, the good news is we avoided the sheep situation for all of the 60 years I've been here. Until it happened.
Well, I was just worried that maybe we weren't budgeting enough. And then the assessor, fund went up 10,000. We went from 10,000 to 20,000.
In what line?
I don't have it in front of me.
Do I?
It was a reappraisal fund.
That's why, because we're gonna have a reappraisal.
Yeah, we're gonna need to do
We're gonna drain that account pretty far, or use a lot of that money, so there's like 220 in it right now. We'll
So you
use
wanted-
200,
Yeah.
so we're trying to.
Trying to
make sure-
build it back up faster, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even need to look if it's in the reappraisal line, that's why it's,
And then the town report was down $2,800 for the town report.
because last year we left it up so high because it was our first year doing the mailers and we weren't really sure if we were gonna have enough or not, and how many books we'd need to print and all that, so we saved a lot of money not sending them all, a
Okay,
lot of money.
those were just big numbers that popped out at me, other than the sheriff's and the, health insurance.
Which we can talk about. in
Right.
executive.
I think generally speaking from, I didn't dissect the budget. I looked at the bottom line and then kind of went through it a little bit.
No, I think it was really done well.
And I think we can, I think with, I don't want to say this because I want to jinx us, but.
Got your fingers, got your legs.
I really believe that with some limited work sessions, I think we'll come up with a budget that we're all gonna be very comfortable with presenting to the taxpayers of the town. That's just my opinion, you know, from the surface. But we'll see. I don't think we're gonna sit there and spend a huge amount of time on this. And I think that a lot of the reason that, you know, my first couple of years on the board, we spent a lot of time on budgets, first year especially.
Oh my God, we didn't get nowhere.
Yeah, right. So.
learned a lot.
But I think I think a couple of things, I think it's the staff has got a better handle. I think the staff works extremely well together with everyone out there, you know, with the road crew and Darcy and, you know, all the way through.
And they give us, I ask them for budget worksheets, they give us what they want, and then Ellen and I sit and look, okay, what did we have last year, what have we spent so far this year? And then we put in a number that looks like it works, it's usually what they ask for.
Right. And I think they do an awesome job working on trying to keep a pretty good budget, pretty good tight budget. I really do. So, and I think that helps. You know. But I think it's because they can communicate with us. You know, with the board, they can communicate with you and Ellen and Hannah and whoever else is involved in what's going on. So I don't want to get into that too much, but I think you know, I think we're gonna be able to present a pretty solid budget to our residents, again this year. I don't want to be too optimistic, but I'm pretty optimistic about it again. Any more discussion on budget? Let's set up that work, session for next Thursday. At 6 o'clock. We'll set it up right now because this is the place to do it. So next Thursday, 6 o'clock, specifically for budget discussion. That's when we should be, if we have some questions, that's when they really should come up and we should dissect it that night. And try, I would love to get it done in one night.
Yeah, we will.
I think we will.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's gonna be a late night. I don't think it's gonna be that 10, 11, 12 o'clock night, so. I think we'll get it done next Thursday, and I think we'll be very comfortable with what we get done. Should we have Ellen here for any questions?
She'll come.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll ask her to come.
okay.
She was gonna come tonight, but I told her no, she didn't.
Yeah, no, right, I think tonight would have been a waste of her time. I just, I think next Thursday, if we have Ellen come in here, we should be able to iron that budget out in one night and be done with it. Awesome. I'll entertain a motion to enter executive for contractual.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bye-bye.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Discussion? All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bye-bye.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye. Ballot articles and draft town meeting or town warning, which we switched to postcard.
So this is the draft postcard for the town report, and I'm sorry, Bob, you can't really see it, but it's exactly the same as last year with the year changed and a different picture. So the picture this year is, or the proposed picture this year is out here, from behind the chairs, the overlook of the mountains.
Nice. I like the picture.
Yeah.
And I like the postcard idea from last year, so.
So before I order them with, ink spot, I just wanted to make sure you like them and approve of the picture.
I like
Was
the
it
picture.
the 22-23 town report, right?
Yes. So it's the postcard that just says it's available online, or they can come pick it up.
I don't know, can I?
And it'll go to all the registered
Can I
voters.
just take a picture or take a picture and send it to Bob?
Yeah,
It's not gonna work.
it might work.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna focus on.
It looks pretty good. You get the general idea. And it has like town meeting listed on it, the date and time, the election date and time, and then when early and absentee ballots are available.
Do you want this back? I think it looks good.
So I think we're good with the postcard?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect.
So you need a motion for that, or you just?
No, I just wanted to make sure you were all fine with that.
No, that was a good idea you come up with last year with that, so.
Any, public comment here?
Yep, Jim has his hand up.
Hello, people. How are you tonight? My name's Jim Kosas, North Mason Hill Road. First of all, I just wanted to just make sure I have give you my appreciation for moving forward after 11 years of the appraisal for the town. I think it's something that's was needed. Second thing is, again, I appreciate you guys moving forward and doing something more with the ballot article issues. I'm not sure where, way back when, but there are people out there that can just not afford to make their donations to these organizations through taxes. Whether there are others out there that can do them on their own with their own personal finances, but a lot of things have changed with insurance and companies, and we're now at a lot of companies that are not paying for insurance. They have high deductible insurance, and they're saying that they'll pay a portion. I know there is a certain organization that they pay close to 80% of insurance, but there are those that are out there at small organizations that are paying nothing, and you got to pay for your own. So having something change with ballot articles, and those that can afford it, maybe it's better if they can afford it directly, and those that can't afford it, not have it pushed into their taxes. I'd love the fire department. I think we need it there. It's something that's very essential. The rescue squad, yes. I mean, I'm grateful that if it's something that happens close to me here in town, that they're very close. They can get to me a little faster, but they've changed a lot from volunteer to now a paid salary. So a lot of things have changed in the whole world in the last 5 or 10 years and everything. As for the budget, you guys did a great job last year. Kept the budget down. The rate was very reasonable. And I just want to just reassure that you guys are more prone to the percentage that the budget either goes up or goes down. There are things that may have been included that happen one year, but they don't happen in future years. So hopefully before any tax rate is even discussed, you kind of subtract things from items that might not be in the new budget, which I think you did last year, versus trying to just come up with a percentage of the tax rate that you think would be good and people would accept. So the main thing should be on what is the budget that the people need to support this town to move forward. And I thank you, and you guys are doing a great job. Happy New Year to you guys.
Thank you. Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
New Year.
Any more public comment, Hannah?
Nobody else is second.
No one else? Executive for personnel?
So move.
Second,
All those in favor?
Angie, I.
Bye-bye.
Jamie, I.
Mike, aye.